What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to cover a very important foundational topic that all Porsche 911 owners who perform any sort of maintenance on their own vehicle should know how to do. So what I'm going to cover today is how to jack up your Porsche 911 and safely and effectively place it on a set of jack stands. Now there's a ton of reasons why you're going to need to know how to do this, whether you're changing wheels and tires, doing a brake job, doing a brake flush, doing spark plugs. This is great foundational knowledge to know when servicing your Porsche 911. Today I'm going to walk you through my method on how I prefer to do this and the method that I've been using for over 10 years with great success. Now, some background information about myself for those of you that may be new to the channel or aren't currently subscribers. My name is James Victor. I'm a Porsche and motorsports enthusiast. I both own and have been working on Porsche vehicles for over 10 years. I've tracked these cars, I go to a lot of events, I take a lot of pride in working on my own vehicles, and I have a lot of knowledge about these cars. My channel is dedicated to Porsche culture and insights, maintenance and how-to videos, as well as Porsche event coverage. So if any of those topics are of interest to you, consider subscribing and hitting that notification icon. So today we're going to be lifting and placing my Porsche 997 safely and effectively on a set of jack stands. Now let's dive in. We're going to need a low profile floor jack and a hockey puck. Now what this hockey puck does is this acts as a protective barrier between the base of the jacking tray on your floor jack and the bottom of the factory jacking point on your Porsche vehicle. Using a hockey puck, or if you don't have a hockey puck, using a small piece of wood, ensures that there's no metal-to-metal contact as the vehicle is being raised, and it minimizes and prevents any sort of damage that's going to occur at the factory jacking point. Next, you're going to want a nice set of jack stands to support your Porsche with. I personally prefer using these Esco flat top jack stands. I find they work great with the flat factory jacking points on the Porsche vehicles, and this rubber surface prevents any sort of damage occurring to the factory jacking points, and it has this nice wide platform so the vehicle is nice and stable, supported very well once you get it up on there. Next, I have a set of 2x12s cut into 1-foot sections. Now these are important for a couple of purposes. First, they can be used to chock the wheels if you don't have traditional wheel chocks. And second, once you lift the front of the vehicle, you're going to have limited ground clearance to fit a floor jack underneath the rear of the vehicle to jack it up. So what I like to do is I like to place these underneath each rear tire to ensure I have enough ground clearance to fit a floor jack underneath it. Next, and optional again, is this is a set of standard wheel chocks if you don't have 2x12s. If you have 2x12s, you don't necessarily need these. Last is these are just to protect the floor. So I have an epoxy coated floor. So if y'all have an epoxy coated floor in your garage, I like to put these between the floor and the bottom of the jack stands just to ensure I'm not damaging my floor. So let's get started. We want to start by getting the front of the vehicle on jack stands first, then putting the rear on jack stands. So the order we're going to do this is, we're going to start on the driver's side. We're going to lift the vehicle from here, put a jack stand under the front driver's side, perform the same process on the passenger side, then we will lift up the rear of the vehicle in its entirety and place the rear jack stands on both sides of the vehicle. Also, very important before you put your car in the air, make sure that it is in gear and that the rear parking brake is set to minimize any movement of the rear wheels. We are on the passenger side of the car. We are going to get started by chocking the front and the rear wheels. I'm going to use wheel chocks since I have them, but again, you can use 2x12s or 2x4s if you don't have traditional wheel chocks. Now that we have enough clearance, we place our first jack stand. And place our 2x12 underneath the rear wheel where we're going to need that ground clearance for the jack. We're now going to repeat this same process on the passenger side. Again, putting our 2x12 underneath the rear tire. And letting the vehicle down slowly. So check it out, the 911 is now in the air and safely secured by jack stands placed at the factory jacking points on the front of the vehicle. We also have our 2x12s, as noted earlier, placed underneath the rear tires, which is going to allow us enough ground clearance to jack up the rear of the vehicle and get it placed on these jack stands. I've marked with blue painter's tape the preferred jacking point that I like to use when raising the rear of my 911. In general, you never want to lift from the bottom of the engine or the bottom of the oil pan. I've been using this same spot to lift the rear of my 911 vehicles for years without any issues whatsoever. If you look closely, you'll notice exactly why this 2x12 underneath the rear tire comes in handy. You'll see we have just enough clearance to fit our low profile floor jack underneath the vehicle to get to this jacking point. We're now going to raise the rear of our vehicle and place our jack stands. You'll notice this will lift the entire rear of the vehicle in one shot. Now placing the driver's side. Now placing the rear passenger side. So check it out, we now have our vehicle completely lifted and supported by all of the factory jacking points. Very easy. And we are wrapped. I hope this video gives you the confidence that you need to be able to tackle this in your garage using the method that I just laid out for y'all. Shoot me some comments. Let me know how it went for you. Let me know if you run into any issues. As always, guys, I want to thank y'all for hanging out, supporting the channel, and checking it out. Talk to y'all soon.